our intent is to develop a number of opportunities for both students and faculty to really deepen the thought and practice of social innovation at the new school. We want to see more interdisciplinary learning and research that contributes to real-world problem solving, and to prepare students to become skilled change makers, equipped to address contemporary social and environmental problems, whatever their career paths may be.
I want to briefly introduce our three panelists. Edgar Cahn, to my right, is the creator of Time Dollars and the founder of TimeBanks USA. He's a national leader in the TimeBanks movement and effort to nurture and expand a movement that builds caring community economies through inclusive practices of exchanging time and talent. Greg Van Kirk is the founder of the New Development Solutions Group and the Community Enterprise Solutions that does community-based work, especially in Central and South America. He's developed what he calls the micro-consignment model. Miguel Robles-Duran, my colleague here at the New School at Parsons. Miguel is the director of the Design and Urban Ecologies program in Parsons. He's an architect and urbanist.
We could not reach the outcomes that we were trying to in terms of social initiatives if we did not enlist the community as partners, and that was a key principle of developing a different kind of institution. Money defines value in one way. It defines it by price, not a piece of news to you. But that price defines it by supply and demand, so if it's scarce, it's valuable. If it's abundant, it's cheaper. If it's really abundant, it's dirt cheap or worthless. And I suddenly realized that meant that every capacity that defines you and me as a human being, that enabled our species to survive and evolve, we have devalued as worthless.
But community engagement, I think it's really about empathy and respect. And I think that's what's so critical to knock on wood the success of what our team has been able to do so far. Without empathy and respect, without community engagement, we can't get past the symptoms and get to the real problems. And we have to constantly be drilling down. We only learn that by working with them, not by trying to impose solutions on people that we think are the most appropriate. And having a mechanism like the micro-consignment model allows us to take those chances and work together to figure out what are the best things. Ideally, those change makers, the real agents of change that you're empowering, are people who are of the community, are people who can become leaders in the community. And then in that way, you can take a step back and add value where it's most appropriate, but that your intervention is no longer necessarily needed. That's where the leadership arises, and then the changes from the future come from within that community.
I choose to work with communities that are often viewed as disempowered and poor. For instance, when I talk to the kids in youth court, I have to say very explicitly, I'm very clear. I'm white, I'm privileged, I'm upper middle class, I have certain assets. I choose to use those assets. I have a choice whether I use those assets, whether I hold them in trust for the values that I say I espouse, or whether I use them to line my own pockets.
Well, I mean, I think there are very two clear directions in that somehow social engagement has developed in the 20th century. I mean, the most common ground would be the sort of the ameliorating position, which I think it's quite fundamental. I mean, there are a lot of people suffering all over the place, and someone has to do something now about it, right? If we don't aim, and if our generation and a generation below me and above me, etc., we don't aim from a sort of a radical restructuring. I repeat that word a lot, but when I say radical, I mean derooting the financial system that right now overpowers everything, including nonprofit organizations. Actually, it empowers nonprofit organizations, right? If we don't start figuring out how to change that, how to approach it in a much more systemic form, we're going to continue with an economy of ameliorating. And perhaps that's what we all are going to live in the next century. But we should start really believing that it is, no, there might be other possibilities around. And I think this movement and a lot of people from other movements around, this is what they're demanding. Yeah, not demanding, but crying out loud.
I think we do need a tapestry of interventions. And I think it's important that you know, there are organizations and individuals that are saying the system doesn't work. It shouldn't be an either or. Either we're going to break, if we're let's focus on the system, forget the school lunches, or let's just do the micro solutions and forget the macro. I think what's great is that everybody, you know, different people get passionate and engaged about different levels of intervention. Fantastic. Yeah, let's all go and do our thing and then try to work together to see how we can really do something that grows for the future. You wouldn't keep doing this if you didn't feel that you can make an impact. And what I've certainly learned is that even with very little economic resources and little knowledge, you can, you know, truly effectuate positive change.